Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. All right, guys, welcome back to the Reticle Up podcast. I'm super excited. I've got Benjamin Stewart on today from Run Gun Industries. He's the owner, and he calls himself the director of gear and propaganda. So, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to kick it off. So a lot of people have heard of your business. I'm excited to get into that, and I want to take it all the way back to kind of your childhood growing up. So tell me about your background. Like, where are you from? What'd you do growing up?
So I'm from Utah originally, and I grew up in Utah Valley, kind of rural area. Not so much today. It's grown a lot, but I did school up there, and then I came down to Southern Utah, and I'm down in St. George, and been here for about 6 years now.
That's awesome. That's like the shooting capital of America is what it feels like.
It is. It really has become that. Yeah, we've got the Williams down here, and Brian Nelson. And now we've got Max and Linda. So yeah, it's quite the cadre.
It's the Mecca for sure.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So, I mean, when you grew up, were firearms always part of your childhood?
No, definitely not. I think my dad had a 30-06 and a double barrel shotgun growing up, and I don't think I once saw him pull those out. So,
really,
I spent hours in the backyard shooting a pellet gun, and that was basically the extent of my experience. I guess other than Boy Scouts, we shot 22s, but yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I remember the 22s growing up. My dad was Boy Scout leader with my brother, and my
nice
Girl Scout leader or troop leader.
Okay,
so I got both.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that's why I ended up the way I am now, because I went with Boy Scout trips too.
Hey, those are the fun ones.
They are. That was way more outdoorsy than the Girl Scouts for sure.
Yeah, my sisters were always jealous. They did like arts and crafts, and the Boy Scouts always got to do all the hikes and camping and everything cool. So
yeah, way cooler. So that's awesome. So when did you first, I guess, get into firearms or buy your first gun?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it was probably 2014. I was doing engineering, aerospace engineering up at Utah State University, and that was my life. I was married at that point, and I had zero life outside of just doing schoolwork and trying to get through all that. But I went with a church group, went shotgun shooting, and I loved it. It turned out that I was really good at it. And I thought, you know what, this could be a thing for me. So I went and decided I didn't really have room in my tiny apartment for maybe a shotgun. I thought maybe a pistol. I'll get a little 22 because that's cheap and they'll be easy. So I bought a Brownie Buckmark and started shooting. And then I realized, you know what, if I'm shooting, I should probably know the laws about this. So I went ahead and I got my concealed permit and realized that I needed a defensive pistol. And so I picked up a small 9mm, and it just kind of spiraled from there. The small town that I was living in didn't have an FFL locally for transfers. So I was driving 20 minutes north to a dealer up there. And then I realized after a while, trying to find the right gun, because I had zero experience. I really didn't have anybody that I could go to say, what's a good option or what's even available. And so I was buying and selling used guns. And through that, I decided that, it would be a lot easier if I just got my own license. And so in the middle of engineering school, I got my federal firearms license, and things kind of took off from there.
I love this. I feel like anybody in the gun community that I talk to on these podcasts, like, I picked up a firearm, end of story. Like, spirals.
It does. It's kind of funny how, I had really no background, and then, it got me heavy into firearms.
Yeah, absolutely. The Brownie Buckmark actually was my first firearm. I was gearing up to shoot 22 for Florida State University. And then I got thrown on the 9mm team immediately because somebody dropped out. And so I can never shoot 22 again. Once you move up to 9, you're done. I'm like, well,
oh, wow. Okay.
Same thing. Sold the gun. So that's really neat. So I guess the shotgun stuff is, what's your favorite firearm first before I keep going?
My favorite firearm? Shoot. That's a really good question. Now, how do you pick between all the different sports when you've got, a shotgun and rifle and pistol you could, shoot?
We've stumped him.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I enjoy them all, I think, for different reasons. I really enjoy, rifle, going back to my roots, and sitting in the backyard of the pellet gun, just the very cerebral aspect of that. But also running, gunning with a pistol, it's super fun. And then again, shooting like 5-stand with friends, it's a great time. So yeah, I couldn't pick one gun, I don't think.
That's fair. You don't have to. We live in America. No, it's good.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like Dustin Clay's though. That was the coolest experience.
Oh yeah.
Reaction. You're like, oh, I get it now.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what do you love so much about like the firearms in the community? Once you started getting the FFL and stuff, what did you notice about the people?
I mean, it really is the people that make the industry so great. What did I notice? I think everybody's super nice and everybody wants to talk. You all have something in common. And so you have, a neat group of people that believe in freedom and our right to bear arms. And that just makes for some really down to earth, fun people. And that was a huge blessing for me, starting out in the industry when I was in college and I really didn't have any social life, just trying to get through engineering school. Having a group of people that were coming in, they were interested in firearms, and I was able to get experience through them. I would ask everybody that came in, what gun are you getting? Like, why are you getting this gun? And I learned a lot from everybody just purchasing guns through me. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I bet you're still learning it today, right? You hear firearms and new stuff. You're like, what?
Absolutely. Yeah. I do a lot of travel with Brian Nelson. Whenever we go anywhere, I get the history of, firearms and whatever we're working with, whether it's an M27 or, some old Russian rifle. So yeah, my education continues.
I love it. He actually, at Two Gun Nationals, he introduced me to the neck fan that is now all the rave.
A neck fan? I'm not familiar, no.
Oh my God. So, it was like a $10 product at Walmart, but it wraps around your neck and it has these vents that pull in the air and then it blows air into your face. And that was Brian. And he let me borrow it as an RO. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. And I went and bought one.
He has not broke that out around me. I'll have to ask him about that. That's funny.
They're brilliant. That's all the new thing. Oh man.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you're open to learning. So, I will say there's a stigma around it and I don't want to be super political. Just sometimes going to FFLs, it feels like they know more than me, but they're not willing to learn more either. Right.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. You get all these old guys that are crotchety and yeah, I don't understand that. Cause for me, it started out as a way to learn about firearms. And so I've always been very interested and I wanted to learn everything that I could. And as I've learned, I've wanted to share that with other people and not, try to push my opinions on them. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I walk in there and they're like, oh, do you know what you're doing? Or do you have this? Like, of course I do. I won't see how much ammo I shoot every year. I just try and be nice, but yeah.
Right.
I want to get my FFL license actually one day. How easy was that process or how difficult?
Oh, it's super easy. I think there's a big mental hurdle for a lot of people when they think about getting a federal license and all the paperwork involved with that. But honestly, it's pretty straightforward. And the ATF agents that administered the interview are super helpful. If you have questions, like they will walk you through it and they will make sure that is their job, right? To make sure that you know everything you need to know. So yeah, it's honestly super easy. As long as you can set up a business, you can get an FFL. And if you've already set up a business, then yeah, why not get an FFL too?
Speaking of business too, did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that you'd be working in the firearms industry one day and starting a business?
I mean, starting a business, yeah, but working in the firearms industry, growing, with my background of not being into guns growing up, no, I don't think so at all. And it's really funny how things have worked out. I'm still in the industry. I closed down my firearms business several years ago, but I've continued to work in the industry, and yeah, it's kind of funny how things worked out.
It is, absolutely. So when you say you had an idea or you knew you'd start a business, do you come from like an entrepreneurial background?
Um, my family wasn't at all, but growing up, there was always that drive to make money and figure out how to make money.
Hmm.
So that's just landed me in starting my own business when I was in college. Just out of it wasn't even that I wanted a business necessarily, is that was the avenue to be able to have an FFL and help other people and make money. So it's kind of a natural step.
I feel like that you almost accidental entrepreneur, not accidental, but you saw you make a business. You're like, oh, this is easier than I think it is, because
Right? Yeah.
you had to for the FL, but then you realize, oh, it's a lot easier to make your own money or figure that out later. People don't
Yeah.
start the process. That's the hardest piece.
Yeah. For sure.
Interesting. I know I grew up with entrepreneurs as an example, but so many, like I was talking about entrepreneurship with someone else. It's like you either see it when you grow up or you break the mold, and you figure it out. But so many people don't do that.
Yeah, and some people don't want to, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
My wife has zero interest in that, but she's grateful that I have that drive, and there are people that do have that drive and make things happen. So
We need every type of people for sure. Or
yep,
it's important to have
definitely.
employees and team members. So, okay, after the FFL or during the FFL, did you come up with the idea for Run and Gun?
No, so those are very separated in terms of my career experience. I started my FFL, and I finished up getting my degree, and then about the same time that I got a real job and moved down to St. George, I closed up shop, and that was kind of that. I ended up getting an FFL for my boss, and so things picked back up. Not so much doing business with the FFL, but just being able to get in guns as we were, managing price table guns and stuff like that locally.
Neat. Okay, so it came
And
out
then,
almost.
what's that?
It came out of necessity almost for that piece.
Yeah, exactly. And then Run and Gun, I started just a couple of years ago after another brand that I had started for my boss. He gave that away, and that was heartbreaking because I had grown that and developed it. And it was not mine to keep, and it was sad to see it go. But I decided that I had a vision that I wanted to bring to reality that the original brand wasn't accomplishing. So I was just going to do my own thing, and so Run and Gun was started.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, what was the very first like prototype product that you made?
So originally I started out just doing t-shirts, and so the first actual product outside of apparel was the ammo bag.
So cool. Okay, and was it was that because you saw a problem and you solved it with the solution, or where did that idea come from?
I guess there's kind of two pieces to that. There was me wanting to expand the product line outside of just apparel for Run and Gun, and I had some friends that I'd worked for previously, Black Arch Holsters up in northern Utah, that had started experimenting with a separate line of gear, a separate brand completely, doing waxed canvas goods. And I thought it looked awesome. They were trying to get started. I thought, well, maybe like if I had them customize stuff for me, like I could help them out. They could help me out with my own, brand extension or product extension. So their offshoot didn't end up going anywhere, but they were super happy making stuff for me if I was selling it. So I started out with the ammo bag, which was originally just, a shave kit. And other people have pointed out online, like, this is just a shave bag. Like, why are you selling this? This is ridiculous. Anybody can do this. And yeah, absolutely. There are a million ways to, package your ammo, and doing it in a shave kit is one of many ways. But originally it was just this bag that I thought, if we size this down so it would fit about 500 rounds of 9mm, that would be a super convenient way to carry ammo, because, an ammo can is great, but you don't usually need 900 rounds to go practice.
So clunky.
Yeah, exactly. And once you're done, you still have a big ammo can.
Yeah.
So
this weekend, I have 147.
Nice. There we go.
124s in here.
Okay.
And like my backup if I had to, 115s. I mean,
there we go.
Oh, and all these. I'm obsessed with them, but all of these
I love it.
still don't fit in one ammo can. They're still smaller.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it was an opportunity that I saw, also for me, just fulfilling a need, wanting something that was more convenient and, way less bulky than an ammo can. And I, had no idea how it would turn out. And it's become incredibly successful as a product. So much so that that's what really, transitioned us from Run Gun Apparel to Run Gun Industries, where the focus now is very much gear, and there's apparel on the side. Unless you check the site right now, we're actually redoing some of the apparel, so you won't actually find anything unless you search for it. So
I actually did that the other day. That's funny. I know
okay.
now why. So, okay, prototyping is probably one of the hardest things to get started. Like you said, you kind of started on the shave kit. So was the process literally just scaling it, or how did you test out, or how did you even make that prototype?
Yeah, so that was just scaling it down, just going smaller, and then finding a size that was, like I said, approximately 500 rounds, and that was it. And everything that was used originally in the shave kit, the leather, the wax canvas, the zipper, all work beautifully, for ammo. And the zipper looks sweet, the brass that matches the ammo, and everything just happened to work really well. And since then, we've iterated with different colors and styles and materials, but the bag essentially is the same.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant. And we'll talk about like labeling them and all the cool stuff that you guys did. So like through that whole process, did you have family like not believe in you, or people question what you're doing?
Not openly. If there was anybody questioning it, they didn't express it. Fortunately, my family, my wife was very supportive, and the whole thing was really an experiment. It's not my day job. I still have a day job to this day that I rely on as our primary source of income. So it was something that I could experiment with, really have control with in my life, to do something that I wanted to do just for me.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge blessing.
And it's grown to a much bigger side hustle, I feel like, than you ever expected.
Yeah, definitely.
So cool. So do you remember your first sale from a stranger?
I mean, a first sale, that would have been, going back to my original business as a gun dealer. So my business was Mountain West Armory, and my first sale it probably would have been a firearms transfer, honestly. I just put my name up on Gun Broker, and pretty much right away had people shipping me guns, which was super exciting because I knew nobody, was nobody, but all of a sudden I had a business name and people were, sending me their guns. So I don't remember the very first one. I wish I could go back. If I still had my A&D book, I could tell you exactly what it was, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you remember the feeling though?
Yeah. Yeah. It's super exciting. Yeah. Even with Run Gun again, starting that up, getting the first sales in. Yeah. Super exciting. Even now, like sometimes I turn the notifications on my phone and I hear stuff, and I'll be, working on the house, and I get, a ping, and my wife's like, "Oh, you're making money." Like, yeah, playing with the kids, making money.
Yes. That's so cool. That's so cool. And like the validation from strangers is even better. I know like friends and family help, but like when somebody that you don't know purchased, you're like, how'd you even find out about it? Right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. Have you done international, by the way?
Yeah. I've been surprised, honestly, how many people have purchased internationally. There's a bunch of people across Europe that have ordered, a handful from Australia, South Africa, which just surprises me because the ammo bags aren't a super expensive product, but when you add in, $20 or $30 sometimes in shipping, it's like, wow, that's almost doubling your purchase just for this bag. So I've been really surprised by that. But yeah, we do get a lot of international customers.
That's so cool. And then like when you were getting started, did you know how to build a website and, balance books and like all the hats that an entrepreneur has to wear?
No, when I got started, I remember the web host, I found a local web host that had a really super basic website builder. So I started with that. And then I experimented with WordPress for the local hoster company that I was working for. And then we moved to Shopify, and I've tried Squarespace. So I've used a bunch of different platforms, just figuring things out as I've gone. And I think that really is entrepreneurship at its core, right? Just you've got to figure things out as you go. And I didn't have any background for any of that. I really didn't have anybody that I could turn to. So it was just, me and Google, and away we went.
That's wild. I mean, congrats. First of all, that's hard to do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a process, but when you can build something yourself and see it take off, it's totally worth it. And it's super exciting.
Yeah.
And you make mistakes and you figure things out, and that's just life.
And the mistakes are where you learn. And I don't think failing is necessarily a bad thing,
Oh yeah, for sure. Just part of the process.
It is. It is. So, okay. Biggest challenge in your mind of running a business and being a husband and having a full-time job. What's like the hardest thing to do with all of that going on?
Just prioritizing. Not even prioritizing. Priority is family, but being able to find time for everything. Up until recently, I've been wearing a whoop strap, monitoring my exercise and sleep, and it's been interesting to look back and see, sleep is what gets cut. Family's first, and job has to happen, and sometimes that takes me away, for weeks at a time, and it's long hours, and there's still a side business. So at the end of the day, sleep gets the axe. So.
So we ever slow down, when does sleep come back?
I don't know. That's a good question. I keep thinking, maybe when, I don't have young kids at home, I get more sleep. But even then, when I'm traveling, it's like somehow I'm still not getting sleep. Like there's always work to be done in business. And yeah, I think your driven sleep just ends up getting, this short end of things. Yeah. And maybe other people have figured out how to do it. Maybe I'm just,
Depends on what you want.
Yeah, for sure. But maybe someday.
That's neat. Have you been to SHOT Show?
Yeah, I've been several times.
Okay, so do you remember your first experience?
Oh, yeah. That was so overwhelming. I've never been a vendor there. Okay. But I've gone several times for the company, a couple of companies that I've worked with. And I remember going the first time. I went with Russell Armstrong. I don't know if you've met him at matches at all. So he worked for Practice Score for years and years, and so everybody knew Russell. He's worked so many matches that he's like a rock star there. Everybody's coming up and saying hi, and like famous people, like these people that I've never met before, coming up to him and like, oh, hi. I don't know what's going on here. There's so many people, and yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and those connections, though, like you realize how much smaller the industry is now after you go to SHOT Show.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because like you say, you see these big names, but they're there every year. And now it's funny how much we've normalized that, I think, or at least I have, where I show up to a match, like, oh, yeah, Jerry's here. No big deal. Like the fifth
exactly.
Match, and it's like, people are like, what? It's crazy cool, though.
It is crazy. That is definitely one of the coolest parts about the industry. It's just being able to, it's so small that being able to meet all these people is, commonplace.
Yeah. I wish our industry was bigger sometimes because we'd have more exposure, right? And more people would learn, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
So for SHOT Show, I have to ask for the first time, were you the guy that like didn't sleep and went to parties and all that, or did you? Like, what was that like?
No, it was, work during the day and then, dinner meetings. And then I think I met up with friends afterwards and stayed up fairly late, just, reconnecting with old friends. But no, there was no partying, no Glock parties for me. So
I think I slept for like one whole day during the week.
Oh man.
I didn't mean to, but I crashed. It
sounds like you partied pretty hard then.
It was really fun. Well, it was first time. That was the first time I was like, I have to do everything. And you don't. Oh man. Didn't get the crud though.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think I escaped it my last time, but yeah, I've not been so lucky most of the times. It seems like, there's always a cold or something that pick up.
So gross. Yeah. So going back to business, so you didn't have the advice that a lot of people would have. So just like start a business and develop products. Is there anything that people can do, to cut down their learning curve on everything that goes into owning a business?
I can't speak from personal experience, but I think that if you had a mentor, somebody that, was an entrepreneur that could answer just the basic questions, would make it way easier than, just trying to figure it out as you go.
Yeah. And a good mentor at that, someone that's actually done it. That same thing with like, I feel like teachers and firearms and stuff is finding someone who's credentialed, but who's also like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
mentorship is huge. I can't believe you didn't reach out to anyone.
I didn't even know who to reach out to. I was at the time I was doing, engineering, like I said, when I started my business. So I didn't really have any connections to anybody in business. None of my family did. So yeah, I was just going for it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, so going back to the bags,
Yeah.
the materials.
Uh-huh.
I know nothing about actually doing a real retail product and all of that. So how did you source all of the wax canvas and the leather and stitch it all together and all of that?
Well, I was really fortunate in that, the Black Arch holsters that had, started experimenting with that, their team had figured all that out. So they had sourced all the materials and leather and come up with that, their first prototypes. And then I was just piggybacking off their work. And then since then, with different materials, it's just been, trying stuff out and seeing what not only works, but what, looks good when you start pairing different materials together and what feels good. Because even though something may work really well, if it doesn't feel quality or if it doesn't feel robust, then, that may be, a deal breaker for some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
What were those testing like? Did you just fill up a bunch of weights and rocks and like try and make them bust? Like
just load it up with ammo and swing it around.
Swinging around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to use it, and however you might be using it at the range, you got to try that. I did have got one shooter we worked with. He was showing off one of the ammo bags, bragging to his friends about how strong it was, and I guess he'd been throwing it like just dropping it on the ground a bunch, and finally he had a full bag and he threw it on the ground and it just exploded. That's not what they were designed to do. So these are not indestructible bags, but they are very durable. Once they get a rip, if you are throwing your bag full of ammo around, like disclaimer, it may break.
Don't post the video, we'll find out now.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool when somebody can actually help you develop your product, because I feel like that's hard. Getting prototype out there and testing is a lot of the process.
Yeah, for sure. And there was definitely some worry on my part, putting the ammo bags out there initially, just because, there had been some testing, but there was no long-term testing. And so the customers were the first ones. And fortunately, everything has done really well. We've only had, I think I've seen 2 ammo bags, at least that have been reported, that were the customers wrote in because they had the zipper that came off, and that's it. So
wow.
Yeah.
2 out of a bajillion, I'm sure, is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Our team's been really good about making sure that the quality is top notch before it gets shipped out.
That's awesome. Okay, so then you guys moved into the magazine case, and then you have the mag bag and wallets and all of that. So where did all those concepts come from?
So after the ammo bag was the range notes. Do you have a range notes notebook?
I don't, and I need one because I finally started taking mental notes. I need to like this is what I need to improve upon, and this is what I suck at.
Yeah, I listened to your podcast with Mike Stoker, and he was talking about his performance journal. So we sent one to him, and he's given us some awesome photos of his journal. But unfortunately, we've had to redo that. So we've got the original product that was also developed by this other company that started out with the wax canvas gear. And so we just piggybacked off of that, took their product, and then put a few different designs on it, called it Range Notes. So there again, another product that I did not develop, but was able to take something and customize it for the audience, for shooters. Mm-hmm. After that was mag bag. And I think there again, they had similar product that we made it so that you could label it for ammo or for magazines, and it worked. Like the size worked really well. Actually, no, I take it back. I think we did have to adjust the size. Made sure that it worked for double stack mags. Mm-hmm. There again, it's pretty much done. The first product that we've really had to prototype in-house is the mag case. We have the 6 slots for mags. Mm-hmm. And I've been very fortunate to work with a couple of friends who have experience with sewing and developing products on their own. So they were key in that. I couldn't have done it without them.
Yay, so we have the mentorship finally.
There we go. Finally, somebody that knew something about something.
Someone helped you out. Oh my goodness. Okay, so going back to that, actually, I wanted to talk about that. So simple concept, but
Yep.
for us, because three gunners, we have long range rifle, we have regular burner rifle, we have our pistol, we have our shotgun, we have our slugs, and our buck. So you guys came up with the patch idea, which is brilliant. Yep. I know what the heck is in here because I have, like you saw, bags everywhere. How did that idea come up with? And like, that's brilliant, simple, brilliant.
Just with the original concept for an ammo bag, I thought, how do we make this custom for ammo? Like, what would I want? Like, I want different ammo. I've got pistol and rifle, so I want to be able to label that accordingly. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of a neat thing in that most companies that are making ammo things for carrying, whether it's a bag or a box or whatever it is, they're not, labeling that. They don't make it so you can put on, which seems strange. But I think that's been the number one reason that ammo bags have sold as well as they have, is just the fact that you can organize your ammo, you can easily label it, easily identify exactly what you've got.
Yep. Yeah, I see all the people that reload too that have their box and they Sharpie it, or they have stickers and have to re-sticker it. Like an insert would make more sense. But no, yeah, the bag like blew my mind when I was like, oh, this is game on. Oh man. So that was really cool. Out of everything too, is there a specific color or design that really was the best selling product or sold out fast or people really liked?
So the brown wax canvas and leather bag is still by far our best selling bag. We've done a lot of limited runs. We did a gray bag that was popular, green. In fact, that's going to be coming back again this week. Thursday, you should see that launch. So it's a green, vintage green bag. It looks really good. And I really like that personally, just because it looks really good with like the military ammo cans, just that green. Yeah, that looks cool. The pink bags, I was really reluctant to do pink ammo bags, but those have sold surprisingly well.
I hate that pink is a thing, but I'm glad it's there's the market.
A lot of ladies that absolutely love that, and they've loved those. We've done pink and burgundy. We did the splatter bag, which was another one that I was really worried about.
Yeah,
just because it's retro, but it's really out there. Like, it's really bright bag. But yeah, that did pretty well as well. So we're gonna keep going through some different colors and patterns, and we'll keep seeing what people like. And if people have requests, send it to us, and we're happy to experiment, try things out, see what sells.
I like it. Us bougie shooters, I think not just in 3-gun, USPSA, everything, colors are everything. Like our jersey has to match a gun, that has to match our bag. Like that's a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, no, it's funny. Someone offered me, I think, like a pink sweatshirt one time and a pink hat, and I was like, mm-mm. So you gotta. I'm not gonna wear that.
Doesn't match. Can't wear it.
Yeah, no, blue, which is probably overwhelming. But so going back to the original, like the t-shirts and the apparel and all of that.
Yeah,
you did all of like the graphic artwork for those.
So if you'll notice, it's mostly like 90% of that is just typographic design, and all that's me. There's a couple of shirts that we've done, like the multi-gun shirt and the Vitruvian Man, that I've had a local designer do that. Just because I am not to that level. But I love typography, and so just being able to jump in and do something that's big and bold and pretty simple aesthetically, that was easy for me to jump in and do.
Yeah, I love finding the right font. I hate the process of finding the right font.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's nice to get enough experience with fonts that you have a handful that you can rely on.
Yes.
But if you've got to do work for somebody else, and matching their style, that can be such a pain. And then buying fonts and finding out that it doesn't work in uppercase or letters, whatever numbers you're using. So yeah, it's a process for sure.
It's horrifying. I don't tell anyone I know how to do any of that, because I don't.
You just don't want to go there.
I don't know. If you're listening to this podcast, can't help you.
So then I assume that you did your own logo?
Oh no, that one, this time I did the first one. I paid
Okay.
someone to do this. My friend
Gotcha.
Misty actually does that full time. So I got
Very
sick
cool.
of looking at my own stuff that I did. And I remember when I finally rebranded, because Reticle Up was different. It was Right on Target Marketing, which is like, it's too long of a name, right? So when I rebranded, which we'll get into yours, actually, I'm excited to hear about it. I went simple and I hired someone to create the brand. I gave him the ideas,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't want anything to do with the font, the color scheme.
Yeah, you've been there. You've done the work and you realize, the value in having somebody that really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, because I started out, I mean, like I did the website and I was on WordPress. I've done Wix and Squarespace, similar to you.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hated it. And now I hired a developer. I can do it, but like hire a developer and I just pay her to do it and it's done. I'm like, that's when, like, when you get to that level, right? When you're bootstrapping, you really can't. But
Yep,
now
that's true.
I want that done. So
Yeah, well, I think it's good that you recognize the value in that, because I think there's a lot of small businesses who get started and, they've got a friend or a cousin that knows Photoshop or Corel Draw or something like that. And they come up with something and it reflects poorly on the brand.
yes.
So
Yeah, no, she did a really good job.
yeah, it looks great. Love your logo.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if have you seen the 3-Gun Kenzie one either as well?
I don't know that I have.
I haven't used it as much, but
Okay.
it was a play on 2011, and it has like dragon breath, and the scales are part of like the grip texture. My grandma was
Nice.
obsessed with like dragons, and she passed away, so I incorporate that in
Oh,
there.
cool. Yeah, that's a really neat connection.
There's a stories behind the brand with all of that. So
Okay. Yeah. So where do I see this? Where do I find this?
3gunkenzie.com actually.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Love it. Yeah, so hire someone, guys. So if you're listening, bootstrap it for as long as you can. But I love it when someone external who it's their job to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I do marketing. So, so you went through the name change and kind of semi rebranding. Can you share why you made that change and how that actually helps you in the other markets as well?
Sure. So the biggest thing was just that most of our sales were in gear. It started out apparel. We did a lot of different design. It was I was just cranking out as many designs as I could, trying to think of different ideas and what might sell well. But then it got to the point with the ammo bags taking off that all of a sudden apparel became a very small part of overall sales. And I felt like it was strange that we were putting Run Gun Apparel on all these ammo bags, like in all the patches. It's like apparel, like this is not apparel. And I feel like that's probably confusing to anybody that's searching for gear. Like they're searching for an apparel company and yet buying gear. So for me, it just felt like that was a much more accurate alignment to be a gear company. And so I switched from Run Gun Apparel to Run Gun Industries, just trying to reflect our change in focus that we're not at our core, we're really not an apparel company. And honestly, that was never our expertise. We've never had a screen printing shop. It's all been outsourced. Fortunately, we do have some great local partners that we've been able to work with, but most of our printing has been print on demand. And so that was what we could do, but ended up not being who we were.
Yeah.
So that's why we switched.
I mean, I think it's brilliant. A lot of brands, right on target marketing, again, way too long. And I don't just do marketing. I do email stuff and I can do graphic design if I have to and website stuff. So that's a neat change. And I mean, to be able to be willing to change your name too. And I know a lot of people, founders, like hold on to that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So that was smart.
Yeah. Well, and I think for me, I wasn't passionate about apparel, passionate about, finding solutions to problems, whether that's entrepreneurship or, just as a shooter. But yeah, apparel it didn't resonate as a name. So I was fine giving that up. And anytime that I can simplify and, get rid of something, super happy to, much to my wife's, displeasure. So yeah.
Minimalist then.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was Run and Gun. I just had to find something Run and Gun. So Run Gun Industries, and then Run and Gun is already taken. Like every version of Run and Gun is taken. So ended up just buying the rungun.us domain, which not only is it simple, but it's like super short as URL and super easy to include as an Instagram handle. So
Yep.
the stars aligned and we went with it.
It's huge. It's huge. Gosh, I love talking business with people. But like,
Great.
so people who are listening to this, if you're starting a business, and I tell somebody, my friend was starting an FFL and he was like, oh, I'll get this name here and this name here. And I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Same URL. I know
Yep.
it's impossible, but it's not. And like Facebook username and Instagram username, or else you've got 12 different brands out there and nobody really understands if it's connected or not.
Yeah.
So that, okay. When say a business owner is trying to go through that, maybe it's a huge change, right? Should they hire someone? What all should they look at when they decide to change their name?
That's a good question. I think if you're looking at completely rebranding, if you're moving your company in a different direction, if you have the funds available to be able to go with an agency that has a lot of experience and that can give you a complete brand kit, and you can just run with that, I think go for it. If somebody's got the expertise and they can launch you out on the right path, I would go for that. But there again, if you're bootstrapping, you've got to do a lot of that yourself. And so, yeah, sit down, grab a pen and paper and just go for it. Start brainstorming. It's just a process. And nobody, I feel like, can really shortcut that. You've just got to go through the options and consider all the different aspects of that. How does it resonate with people? What do people first think of? And yeah, just cover all your bases.
So here's the hard question.
Okay.
Should people consult just their friends and their families?
No, I think most important is your audience base, whoever that is. Like, you need to be able to get feedback from people who are actually going to be, buying from you, using your whatever it is. Because friends and family, they may not even be in the industry. Like, I talk to my wife a lot and get feedback from her, and she's like, "Nah, I don't really like it." And I have to ask, well, is that because it's not your style, or because this doesn't look professional? So yeah, you really do need to ask your end user or potential end user.
Yeah. A lot of people, I mean, even I went not in business school, but I worked in the business college and entrepreneurship. And I'm like, go ask strangers. Like, ask strangers. I'm like, you're gonna get honest feedback, real feedback, and they're not swayed to be biased to like, oh, that looks great, honey.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's neat. Were you thinking about this change for like a long time, or like if a brand is looking at their name and if they're ostracizing, markets, should they look at that every year, every 5 years, or,
That's a good question. I've never really thought about that. Looking at, intermittently, do we need to make a change as far as name or brand goes? I think over time, styles and preferences change, user preferences change. So your customer, as their needs change, if you're shifting products, shifting focus, then that's probably a good time to look at it. I think for brands who have been selling the same product, who are selling to the same user for years and years, you know what? Maybe stick with the classics. People love it; they recognize it. Why change? And some companies they're going to want to freshen up their logo, but I think as far as name goes, keep things consistent, but make sure that you are speaking to your consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the simplicity of your name. I know with like Hunter's HD Gold, since I work with Brian, he never intended it to take off in this market, right? He made these classes for hunters.
Okay, yeah.
And then took off into shooting sports and even archery. And we've got somebody that flies planes and wears them and jumps out of airplanes in the military with them on. I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in having a name that doesn't, really narrow you down into one product or one niche market. Being able to have something that is broad enough to appeal to, whatever direction you might take things, or your customers might take things. In the case of, Hunter's HD Gold, if you're having other people than hunters loving them and using them, are you, confusing your end user?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, okay, side note, I didn't prepare you for all this, but
all right, let's do it.
I have a question on like growth and stuff. Do you, or maybe just expansion or in general, like Amazon's got a lot of smaller businesses that can ship out. Etsy's a really cool platform, and I've even found like gun like range flags for my firearms on Etsy.
Yeah, for sure.
You ever see yourself using those platforms, or have you?
Yeah, I've used Etsy in the past. Run Gun started out with a small collection on Etsy, and honestly, it was kind of nice just to be able to get feedback from users really easily, getting these reviews in and finding out what people liked. It's just a super easy way to get started. I think if anybody's making something themselves, start with Etsy. People go to Etsy because they want something that is unique, that's handmade, these custom things, that's the perfect place for it.
Yep.
So ultimately I moved away from Etsy just because my friends that I'm working with, they've got their own business. And I'll give you kind of an inside view here. The way that I've structured my business is I am the owner and the operator, and I don't have any employees. That's the simplest way that I can do it. And everybody that I work with has their own LLC. So I don't have any employees. I have business partners who have their own business, and we work very closely together. But we're both incentivized because they're building the products or they are fulfilling the products, and I'm marketing it. So it's very synergistic.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to be able to allow my friends who are building these products to be able to sell those same products to different markets on Etsy. So I went ahead and I closed my shop and I said, you know what, you can have that. That's a great way for you to be able to start your business. I want you to grow your business because I want you to, continue this path and continue building products for me. So if I can enable you in what you're doing, then that's just going to help me out. So yeah, right now it's just our own website that we sell on, but yeah, Etsy's a great one if you're getting started. Amazon is a great one. I think if you've got sales under your belt, what's selling and you want to be able to scale up, that's a great way to get exposure to a much larger audience. That's not a direction that I've taken things just because they have such a high fee or percentage they collect that I figure, I am very honed in on my market. I know that I can target them without being on Amazon. So I'm going to save what Amazon's charging and just focus on my e-commerce, just using Shopify.
Yeah, no, it's smart. Okay, so for your website stuff too, I know you do affiliates and ambassadors on social media because
thank you for your help, by the way.
Yes, I love it. I'm obsessed with them. I have a question on that too. Like, you've probably seen it. Do just your bags get blocked on social media because it's related to firearms?
So yes and no. I am prohibited from tagging my products because it's called an ammo bag.
Oh my God.
But I can post pictures of it, right? I mean, it's not a gun, it's not ammo, it's a bag.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. And honestly, I've been playing around with the idea of going through and renaming all of my products so that it doesn't have ammo in the name. Maybe it's going to be a freedom seat bag or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Just to where I can actually tag everything. Because I think that's really nice as a customer when I see a post and like, oh, I like that product, and I can just tap on that and go directly to that product on the website, and I can buy it or at least just get more information about that. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge with social media.
Dang, so ammo can't be in there. I was even thinking like pew pew, but I feel like that could be probably blocked by.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Like how deep are anti-gun platforms that we use going? Like how much do they know about us and our lingo?
Right. Oh goodness. I don't know if you're in any of these groups. I'm not going to call any of them out, but we've used like for shipping, it'll be like a boat ride to you is 9 and 00, and it's like a phone number. It's a hoot to see what people are putting there for guiding what they're actually doing.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, so yeah, going back, the affiliates and ambassadors. So why did you kind of start that program, and how has it like helped you online with sales and everything?
Yeah, that's a great question. Initially, I just wanted a way to be able to get products. I guess it was twofold. I wanted to get products in users' hands, and I wanted people to be able to be rewarded for sharing. Like if somebody has a bag and they're telling their friends about it, I want to reward that person. Like, please share it, and thank you for doing so. So that was just kind of a natural way to do that. And then also there were shooters that were sending in requests to to be sponsored and to promote these things and get paid, which makes sense. Like we're super happy to make that happen. And we want to be able to shoot to support shooters. So I feel like that's a really natural way to make that all possible.
Yeah. So have you seen like platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Google, any of that help as far as influencers like linking back to you, or what helps, I guess, get that word of mouth out there for you and for your company?
I think the biggest thing for us, honestly, just has been word of mouth. As people go to the range, like our ammo bags stand out. Like if you've never seen a waxed canvas and leather ammo bag, and all of a sudden your buddy or somebody else at the range walks up with a super classy bag, it's like, wow, like that is unique and cool. So yeah, I think that's generated most of our sales. We do have influencers that have shown bags on YouTube. And in fact, just 2 weeks ago, I had a guy write in and say, hey, just want to let you know I love this bag. And I just found out about it because, I saw it in a YouTube video. They weren't reviewing the bag. It just happened to be on the table while they were reviewing a gun. The guy paused the video, zoomed in, saw Run Gun, and searched for it and found it. So,
wow.
Yeah, those things definitely work. Being promoted on YouTube and social media. And, Instagram has been a huge platform for us, just being able to not only show our products, but to engage with people who are using our products, to be able to encourage people, thank you for sharing that bag. I'm going to repost that. That's a great shot. Yeah. And, we see what you're doing. We like it. Please do more of that. So yeah, Instagram.
That's how we connected. Awesome. And the other stuff too that you guys do really, really well, and I try to teach companies this. If you have other people doing the content creation for you, you've won. Like if you've got shooters taking the pictures, the videos, and you're just posting it, like game over, like you've got the word of mouth out. Content is everything. Mm-hmm. That's like 90% of what businesses should really like focus on. But when you've got these affiliates and ambassadors, which some people are really opposed to, it's like they do a lot of work for you. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. If guys are putting the work in, like I will absolutely, repost and, make sure that you are getting compensated for that. Like if you're not generating sales, but you're posting and you're sharing, like you're probably going to be getting gear. Like as we get new stuff, like I want to support those people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I cannot believe they zoomed up. So if people are listening, key is so in your logo or something on the bag, right? Or on whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely.
God. That's really cool. Okay, so for those people too, I'm curious, with other brands, should they be seeking out people, or how could they seek out the right people maybe to work with for their brand?
I think you've just got to get really involved in the industry. For me, I'm really fortunate in that, I work with Brian Nelson and I've shot with, Javis and Justine, and, there's all these great local shooters that I can ask questions to, like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Try this, mag case out. Do you like it? Does it work well? That's key. I think for anybody that is getting started in an industry that they don't have experience with, I'd ask, first of all, why are you in the industry? And if you are passionate and want to be in the industry, who do you know? Because you need to make those personal connections. You need to be able to get products in people's hands and really be able to get feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. I think tabling at those matches and events and stuff are huge. And like you said, if you can't be there, have somebody else. Those ambassadors are going to be out there.
Yeah.
Which is
really
for
cool. Sure.
So for like best customers out there, have you seen people that are like die hard, like continuous buyers?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that has surprised me the most. With the ammo bags, starting out, I thought, maybe other shooters will like this, and maybe a few people will buy a bag, maybe even two, because sometimes that's useful to have a couple different calibers. But I've got customers who have bought, no joke, like 20 bags. And it's not that they're just buying for themselves. It's that these are, really cool. And anybody that's a shooter has friends that are shooters. And that's a super easy way to give a gift. And with the limited runs that we do, especially coming into the holidays, guys will buy up multiple bags for their friends or family. And yeah, it's a really easy gift idea.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought of something on the non-wax canvas. Could they embroider that material?
Yeah, for sure.
Huh. Okay. 3 Gun Kenzie, guys. That's what I want in the bag. No. Cool. Oh man. Okay. So overall, for this industry too, for anybody listening, what are the absolute best things that shooters or firearms enthusiasts or whatever can do to help businesses like yours survive with all of this suppression on the internet for firearms
Hmm.
related stuff?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Looking at everything that's going on and making it harder to find products and promote products, word of mouth is and I think will always be the best form of sales. So if there's something that you love, tell your friends about it. Like Facebook may not let you, tell people on Facebook. They may not let you share that video, but if you're telling your friends about it, that's helping out a business.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. Okay. So now that we're talking about this, you can say no, but you've done some cool limited runs, different colors and prints. So is there any preview or whatever, sneak peek of anything coming out or any special colors coming out that you can talk about?
So I mentioned we are doing the vintage green
Mhm.
coming up this week. So the green has just been super popular. So that's probably something we'll bring back, once, maybe twice a year if you're lucky. So yeah, you got to watch out for the limited runs. But we'll also be doing some bags with, we've got an influencer we started working with. She's super cool. She's got an idea for some really unique bags. So we're going to do some custom interiors. Also working with True Builder. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yes. Oh, I met him on the plane from SHOT Show.
No kidding.
Down, and I was like,
You sat next to
"Hi."
Barrett?
Yeah, I was like, "Hi, are you Barrett?" 3-hour flight though. Like we connected. If he's ever listening, probably never will. He's awesome. He gave me his number and he's like, if you need someone to come out and teach a class, wherever you are, let me know. Like,
Oh, I'm super jealous.
but what a nice person. I was like, I get to sit next to you for 3 hours. I'm going to talk his ear off.
Yeah. I wish I could, sit with Barrett for 3 hours and just chat. We've talked a number of times on the phone. I've met him at SHOT Show and chatted briefly, but super excited to be able to support what he's doing with True Builder. So you're going to start seeing some custom True Builder bags. So we posted about it, I guess, months ago. It's got a bright blue interior, Mark 18 pattern. Super cool. So you'll see some True Builder ammo bags, mag bags, wallets, basically everything we're doing. We're going to try to do a True Builder version of that. Cool. And then a portion of the sales from those will go, back to True Builder and Barrett and everything that he's doing there to help build wells and improve people's lives. So we're really grateful that we get to work with Barrett on that.
That's so neat. That's so neat. Oh my gosh. Small world. See?
Yeah, that is crazy. I love it.
So, oh man, have you shot a bunch of different competitions, by the way? Like going to shooting, have you shot 2-gun, 3-gun, USPSA, all that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So 99% of my shooting has just been local, Tuesday night steel, and that's it.
Yeah.
I've got family and kids, young kids that, I could definitely go out. I could take the time and I could do shooting. But my priority right now is being able to be with my kids. And once they're old enough to go shooting, heck yeah, we're going to get out and we're going to shoot. And that's going to be so much fun. But until they can do that, I don't want to be taking time traveling to matches and doing that. So right now, it's been local matches. And then the only real experience that I've had doing 2-gun or 3-gun or anything like that was at the Industry Choice Awards a few years ago.
Nice.
Super sad that they stopped doing that. Rock Castle is no more, but I was able to go out there and, they had a 3-gun stage with Mark Roth leading everybody through. Had a blast. I think did we do a 2-gun? I think it was just 3-gun, and then did some shotgun stages and a bunch of pistol. So I did a bunch of training with Brian Nelson prior to that. So I've had some good exposure, but no, unfortunately I've not taken a lot of opportunities to, shoot a variety of matches.
Okay, when your kids grow up, I fully expect you to be a grandmaster if you've got Brian and Justine and Justine all of them in your backyard. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I really, really hope that my daughters are into shooting because I really hope that I can pay Jaylee someday or Justine, or whoever's here in town still, to be able to train my daughters, because I just think that would be the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want to force them. I'm not a mom, but I know can't force kids. You don't want to do that anyways, but you're like,
no, for sure.
I want you to be obsessed with firearms.
Right. Yeah. My boy, he's 5, and he's super into it. He's really excited. So we'll definitely be out shooting together. But yeah, really hoping my daughters will as well.
That's so cool. So at home, like, are you teaching them the rules of firearm safety? Does he?
Yep.
Okay. How'd you do
Yeah,
all
he's. It started out when he was really little, just me getting my gun out to clean it, and I take it apart, and he handled everything, and he's still learning. He was learning to talk at that point, and so I'm teaching him, how to say magazine, and teaching him all the parts of the gun, and from there, because I carry daily, I can still carry. I've always got a gun, and I take it off at night, and he sees it, and we talk about it, and I take my gun out. If he asks, like, absolutely, let's pull it out and let's see it and let's strip it, and I make him put it back together, and we talk about it, and it's not something that's scary or honestly even that exciting. Like, he's seen it, he knows what it is. He can't really hold it very well, and so he's not like that into it. He loves the idea of shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really key with kids. If they are comfortable with guns and have that respect, they understand how it works. There's not that curiosity that's driving them to sneak and do stuff they shouldn't, and there's also not that fear.
Yeah I know with my nephew, it's like they're very curious, and if
Yep.
they're gonna go reach out and grab the firearm, or you say don't touch it, they're gonna do the complete opposite. So I think that's really cool, like teaching kids young. And it's not, would you say like there's an age? I know the answer to this, sort of like there's not an age like, hey, you're mature enough to own a firearm or touch one or shoot one, right? It's maturity level.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. Just this past week, I took my boy over to one of my coworkers' houses, who's become a really good friend. And I had mentioned to him weeks ago that I'm needing to find a 22 for my boy. And he opened up his safe and he gave my boy his very first 22.
What?
And yeah, I couldn't believe it, but he gave him his gun, and I had not yet decided that he was old enough to have a gun, but now he has a gun. So I don't know exactly if there is a best age or maturity level or how to determine that, but he's got one now, so we're going to figure it out.
My dad has bought like a 22 before my nephews were even born. Dad. I'm like, where are mine? She's like, you're no longer important. I have grandbabies now.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I was teaching someone that recently, like, oh, what age? And I was like, it's really not an age, it's maturity. And there's some adults that shouldn't have one right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like big time. Okay, you talked about concealed carry. Actually, I wanted to go into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But going all the way back when you got your permit and stuff. What do you wish you would have done like differently when you were learning and getting your concealed carry permit and all of that?
Differently? I think I did everything that I could, honestly. I think I did it pretty well. I started out with a 22 and realized that I needed to get educated. And so, I got educated about the laws, and I went to get some firearms training. And I spent a lot of time practicing because I was buying and selling guns. Well, I wanted to figure out what gun was going to be best for me. And so I was buying and selling a lot of guns. And so I got a lot of experience shooting and a lot of experience with a lot of different guns. And so I feel like that was really good for me. I got to the point where I was very comfortable, not only shooting, but with a gun that I felt worked really well for me. Got training. The only thing that I wish that I had was like a Brian Nelson or a Jay Lisa Justine that, exactly, that could have walked me through and shown me not only how to shoot, but how to shoot really well. Being, a concealed carrier, if you don't have the skills to be able to, proficiently utilize that weapon if necessary, if you don't have that, maybe you shouldn't be carrying. So yeah, I got everything that I could. I just wish that, I had more, because with all that experience, you learn bad habits and then you have to relearn later on.
Yes. Yeah. So seeking out education first is huge. And like, I don't know how y'all's classes are. Do you have to live fire in front of an instructor?
No. So Utah doesn't require any live fire.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
So it's the state requirement is that you have this course that the state has kind of put together. I guess they have an outline. The instructor has to go over it, and it has to take 4 hours, and then you have to submit your application, and that's it. So yeah, it really is on the user to learn, get experience, and train.
Yeah,
as it should be. I don't think there should be any mandate. I think people should all get that. That should just be common sense, right? If you've got a gun, if you've got a guitar, you should learn how to play it. You get an instructor. If you've got a gun, it should be the same thing.
Keep going. Tell me more. Yeah, it's huge. I think that across the board, yeah, I don't want it necessarily mandated, right? But I want people to realize, hey, you don't just get a permit and strap on a firearm, whether it's inside, outside the waistband, whatever.
Yep.
How often do you think anybody shoots their hollow points? That was a huge one. Like nobody's actually test fired their firearm with a different type of bullet to see if it even goes off.
Yeah, that was one really surprising thing for me as a gun dealer, just how many people would come in and, I'd see them buy a gun and then weeks later they buy another gun. And I'd ask them about, how the first gun was they bought and they hadn't shot it yet. And maybe they were even carrying it. It's like, wait. Like, first of all, why wouldn't you want to? Like, you just bought a new gun. You were super excited about that. Why didn't you? But then you're carrying that for self-defense. What if it has an issue that you don't know about? What if your mag doesn't, feed properly? So, yeah, I wish more people were more responsible.
Yeah. And then think about, have they ever drawn from concealment? And a lot of ranges, prevent that, which sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you find, maybe a private range or a private teach or something where you need to be able to, even in your car, can you grab your gun wherever you have it on your body or whatever out of your vehicle? And we get lucky. I'm sure you've got a range that you can pull up and shoot out your window.
Yep.
I know I do, but there's a lot more that goes into it. So, God, you've got all the perspective of FFL. Can you share some of your favorite stories, actually?
Favorite stories?
Yeah.
I've got to go back several years now. Let me think about that for a second.
I want to see this side of people, so I'm very excited. And my dad's been that guy before. Buys the gun and he hasn't shot it in 6 months. I was like, excuse me, you still haven't shot it? Nah. I would be out to the range that day, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you see all sorts of people, right? So you've got the guy that comes in and buys a brand new surgeon rifle and US optic scope, like everything, who has never shot PRS or anything before. But he's going to buy the latest and greatest. And then that same guy, a couple months later, sells it back to me. It's like, really?
God.
I'm trying to think if there was any crazy stories. I did. The weirdest one, I did have an Asian guy. He wasn't a US citizen, but you can still buy guns as a non-citizen. He bought so many guns. To this day, I still wonder what on earth he was doing. And it wasn't even guns, it was a lot of receivers. But he didn't get flagged. The ATF never called about it. Like I sent in all my reports and everything.
Yeah.
And I think he said he was just building rifles. And I asked him, but like, who builds that many rifles and isn't selling them,
Yeah.
What is going on there?
He's got a compound. He's got the compound that he's building for everybody.
Yeah, super nice guy, but
yeah.
I have no idea. That was, it's still a mystery to this day.
Huh.
And then there was somebody that transferred. It was during the height of things. It was right before Obama got in. Things were going crazy, and so I was even buying receivers at retail, and then selling them for just a slight markup, just because I could get them in and people wanted them.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting in class at one point. So I was doing aerospace engineering. This is what prompted me to actually switch from engineering to business, which is why I ultimately got my degree. I was sitting in linear algebra and differential equations, refreshing the page on, I still remember, it was Aero Precision. They had a drop, and I was going to get 20 receivers in. So I was completely ignoring class so that I could get those receivers in because I had customers that wanted them. So
you've been an Aero Precision fan forever.
Yeah, I mean, they were making quality stuff way back when, and they were one of the few that you could actually order from directly online and get stuff in.
Yeah, I love them, and Ballistic Advantage takes care of me, and they're amazing barrels. So
nice.
They're two of my favorite companies. So for looking back, that's actually another interesting perspective of all of the, I guess you say, heightened awareness and all of the surge buying and all of that. What can people do better to prepare for all of this?
do to prepare for?
I mean, I feel like it happens every so often, right? History repeats itself. So
Yeah,
it depends on who's in office and depends on who comes out of office.
yeah. I mean, buy what you need and buy extra of what you can get in terms of ammo. Like, yeah, if there's ammo and it's available, you buy it, and make sure you've got plenty, because we never know when we can get it. In terms of guns, you want the right tool for the right job, and make sure you've got spare parts. And if you want to buy and sell guns, you can play that game. That's, I think, hard if you're trying to guess the market. A lot of people got screwed over with the last election when Trump got in, and people didn't expect that. So yeah, as far as preparing, you prepare for life. You get what you need, and make sure that you have what you need in case of everything hitting the fan. So yeah, just basic preparedness. Same principles for food and water goes for guns and ammo. You put aside what you need in case you can't get it.
I love this. I feel like I'm learning so much about you as we go along. I know the toilet paper craze, right?
Oh yeah, what the heck?
So this is wild, and maybe not, but it's come up on a couple podcasts, I think. I'm pointing because I'm looking. In my range kit, I have to carry toilet paper because 3-gun competitions do not believe in porta potties, or women don't go to the bathroom, apparently.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, like, I kid you not, I've got like this toilet paper roll kit, and one's in the range bag, one's in the truck. Like, there's certain places, and no joke, I've had to use it all the time because there's no porta potties. Because
wow, no way.
Yeah, so you think
That's
about
wild that no one's thinking about that, or at least caring enough to make it happen.
No. Last match, we couldn't actually go from bay to bay because like shots were across different places. It was in the woods, which is cool. But yeah, they didn't have a single porta potty for all 7 stages out there, whatever. So you're left to your own devices.
Dang. Okay.
So be prepared. I mean, and that's just simple. But yeah, I was like, I have plenty of toilet paper when that happens because I'm a female.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be prepared for that. That's crazy that you have to be prepared for that scenario at a formal event. Yeah. But that is kind of cool to think that you're going to events out in the woods that they don't have stuff like that. It's like, okay,
yeah, everything's in the truck.
Yeah, I want to shoot that match.
That was cool. Yeah, we had our coolers, our food, our tools. Like, yeah, it's almost like camping, but not.
Love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, wrapping this up, we're coming towards the end here. Working in the industry and stuff, what do you think is some of like the coolest experiences you've got to have? Not even just with your business, but even working in the industry before.
Like we talked about, just the people, being able to meet some people that, in the very beginning of learning about firearms and, watching whatever I could on YouTube or, DVDs, and then meeting them in person. Like, wow, that's really cool. Like, you're just a nice, down-to-earth person, or maybe they were not, but yeah, being able to meet people in person and, make friends with some of those people. I think that is super cool.
Who was your shooting idol then? Who was your like fanboy moment?
I don't know if there was just one. I think there's been just a number, like all these, top shooters that I started hearing about, when I got into competitive shooting. Like everybody that you hear about winning consistent, like, oh, like that legend, like they're amazing. And then meeting them in person, like, oh wow, like you're a cool person.
I need names. I gotta
you need names.
I need names.
Oh. I remember meeting Lanny Barnes at SHOT Show.
She's the sweetest person on planet.
That was super cool because not only is she like a shooter, like she's an Olympian. Like this is really cool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was super exciting. Rob Latham.
Yeah, he's a hoot. I love him.
Yeah, it's super funny because I'm friends with some of his very close friends. So being able to see very personal side of him, that was surprising.
Yeah.
Who else? Oh, Shane Coling, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The Super Squad shot this weekend at Area 5. Got to watch them lay down a stage run. Team Glock.
Nice.
It was cool.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I could name, everybody on the Super Squads. Like those were people that I was hearing about that just seemed like legends. Like meeting, yeah, all of those people has been, not that I met them all, just like everybody that I've met,
yeah,
that performs that level. That's just been a really cool experience. These people that have devoted that time to developing that talent. Yeah, that's just cool.
It's so neat. So dreams are possible.
Absolutely.
And you can do it with no background and no mentorship. So looking back, would you do all of it all over again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think because of who I am, I really enjoy entrepreneurship and that creative aspect, being able to develop something that didn't exist before and be able to say, I did that. Like this didn't exist and now it does. And I built that and people use that and they like it and they see it and like it's made a difference. And yeah, it's something that I can control and continue to develop and learn from. It's just entrepreneurship is a great way to learn. Mm-hmm. Being able to just try things out and experiment and make a buck at the end of the day. And if that, helps me provide for my family, great. And if it, takes it to the next level and someday I can, choose my own schedule and do whatever I want, then even better. And it's all, just part of the learning process.
I love it. So how do we get you as a mentor for someone who doesn't have a mentor?
If there's somebody that's listening that wants insight that they think I might have, please reach out.
I love it. So what's next for you, Benjamin?
What's next? That's a good question. Right now, kind of at a spot where I'm really happy with the job that I've got. I'm able to working with the Marine Corps right now, helping them as they are transitioning to their new infantry Marine course and really kind of shifting and considering competition as a way of improvement. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really want to continue with that and help make some of these pivotal changes this moment in time. But in the future, I do want to get to the point where I can, run my own business that supports my family and, set my own schedule. I think that is the ultimate dream. But being in a spot right now where I can make an influence that, I couldn't on my own, and part of, a great team of developers and being able to design things that are being used by the military, I think, right now, that's where I want to be. And I'm super grateful that I get to work with the people that I work with and that, I have a beautiful family and life is good. So taking it one day at a time.
I love it. I love it. It's so important to just have more businesses in this industry, even if they're not firearm and explosives related. But that helps the Second Amendment, right? And it just shows to people like you and me, we're normal people. We're not the scary firearms owner people, because this community is really great. And I think that's really, really cool to see that.
Yep. I absolutely love the community. And I'm super grateful for the individuals that I've been able to work with, especially those that as I have gotten more involved in the industry and gotten more experience developing my own business, all of a sudden I find myself working and partnering with other people who do have a lot more experience and who are genuinely good people. I got to call out Mike Stoker specifically, being able to work with him and chat with him and, even listening to his podcast, he's just a wealth of information. He's had so much experience and he is just a genuinely good person who wants to help people and, is super willing to do whatever he can to help out people that he believes in. So can't thank him enough for that. He's definitely, I definitely do have mentors now. I didn't at the beginning, but I've gotten to the point where I have more connections and I've met more people and, that plays definitely a big role in where I'm at.
Yeah. Mike's done a lot for me. I mean, and every minute that he dedicates to you is a big deal. So when you find those mentors that take time for you to figure out a way to thank them. And I think I say thank you to them as often as I can. I'm like, dude, thank you. Because he's giving me business advice too. That was oh, duh. I felt stupid. But when you run a business and you do the best you can, you just don't know what you don't know. And then someone comes oh. Yeah. So that's really cool. So pass it forward if you're listening, if you're a business owner, mentor, and be coachable and pass along information,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you asked about what's next. I hope that I can get to that point where I've got the opportunity to work with other people and the time to help other people who are in that, a position like where I was, where they had an idea, they wanted to be able to make a difference, and to be able to help those people out. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. When you're ready, you tell me and Mike, we're gonna blow you up in a good way. In a good way. You tell me don't send me a text message or whatever where it says blow up when you're talking about ammo. Right.
True.
Not a good thing. Oh man. So Benjamin, thanks for being on the podcast. I want to ask you a final question of any final thoughts, advice, tips, anything that you want to leave people listening.
For anybody that's listening that wants more information about anything that I do in terms of product development, I do UI and UX design for my job. Anything in the industry, I'm super happy to answer any questions. So please feel free to reach out. I'd love to be, like I said, a resource to other people. And yeah, if you're just getting started in shooting or entrepreneurship, this industry is great. And all you need to do is ask and reach out. There are so many incredible people. So don't hesitate. If you have an idea, go for it. If you want to shoot or get better at shooting, go for it. There's so many opportunities.
I love that. So how can people find you or your brand online and connect with you?
So reach out. Probably the easiest way is just on Instagram. So rungun.us. You can also email me directly at benjamin@rungun.us. Pretty simple.
Yep, very easy. And same thing with the URL. It all works.
Yep. All the same.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I could talk
thank you. This was super fun.
So much fun. Yeah. So, when you launch a new product or you've got something else coming out in 6 months or a year or whatever, let's do this again and talk about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks all you listeners. Check out Run Gun. Their bags are phenomenal. Their magazine case, everything that they've got going on. I'm really excited for more. So stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.